Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, West Denver. Here's a quick message from our sponsor, Local Works Wheat Ridge, provided by its Executive Director, Paige Piper.
Local Works is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to make Wheat Ridge a more vibrant and sustainable place to live and work. Our mission and action is programming that provides neighborhood revitalization and small business support, keeping and growing the businesses we know and love in Wheat Ridge. In simpler form, we provide connection. Connection to business, connection to community.
This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Meg Smith.
All right, welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. I have the pleasure of interviewing my good friend Tomas Marin today from Salvus Payment Solutions. How are you?
Meg, I am doing awesome. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Excellent. Well, yeah, thanks for joining me on here. This is a pretty new endeavor for my team and I, so we're so happy that you're participating and sharing about Salvus Payment Solutions. I said systems initially.
Your sins are forgiven you.
So tell us a little bit about your business.
Salvus Payment Solutions, or as Meg calls it, Salvus Payment Systems. Either way, tomato, right? We have been in business now since 2008. So now I guess doing the math, 15 years in business, doing payment processing. We are a local Denver-based company, but we do have a nationwide footprint and are expanding over into Canada. So pretty soon we will be international as well. But yeah, so that's a little bit about our business. We do everything from any way that you can make a payment, whether you're in person with somebody, face-to-face, online, through a mobile app, any way that you can make a payment, we set up businesses and organizations with those capabilities.
Nice. So yeah, streamlining the process, making it easier for the business owner, and also saving them money a lot of the time is what I hear.
Yes. So we kind of pride ourselves on look, the reality is we all of us in the payment processing industry, we kind of do the same thing. We take a swipe of a credit card and translate that into money in your bank account for the merchants. So we all kind of do the same thing. There's two things that separate us from other payment processors. One, our pricing. We are extremely aggressive on our pricing. I'll give you, if I may, I'll give you a testimonial. There is a local business here in the Denver area who's been in business for decades, and they've been with their processor for many years. Recently had the opportunity to meet with them, and after reviewing all their pricing, we noticed a couple of things. One, their systems that they were using were way out of date, and so we were able to bring them up to speed when it comes to technology. They were wanting things like loyalty programs and gift cards, and so we were able to get them set up with that. We were also able to put an additional $400 in their pocket, not the processor's pocket, per month. It was just over $400. It was like $426 to be exact, but who's counting? And but yes, when it comes to pricing, we are very aggressive. When it comes to customer service, that's the other area where we stand out. I have a client again. It's a big restaurant in the Denver area. I won't say the name, but I'm fairly confident most people have been there, and they've been around again for decades, and they've been with me now for probably about maybe 10 years, if not just a little bit longer. And the owner of that company told me one day as we were setting up one of their new locations, he said, "Tomas, do you know why I'll never leave you?" And I was kind of caught off guard. I was like, wow. And I told him, I said, never's a long time. And he repeated himself. He said, "Tomas, do you know why I'll never leave you?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Because we can rely on you guys." He said, anytime we have an issue, we call you up and you guys get it resolved instantly. He said, and we've been with the other processors that claim that and don't deliver that. So those are the two areas that kind of separate us from other processors. Our pricing, we're very aggressive, but our customer service, we take care of our clients because, hey, they're the backbone to our business.
Absolutely. And I know that your customers are happy with you. I know them personally, some of them. And that's really nice to, to have that confidence in your service, because I work with a lot of business owners too. So, I can basically recommend in good conscience that, they should at least talk to you and learn about your rates and service, because it very well may save them money, just like your clients that's saving, what was it, $462?
Yeah. Well, and even outside of that, like recently I met we earned a new client recently, and I gave him two options. I said, look, here's your two options. Option A, I can set you up exactly how you're currently set up, and you'll continue to do everything as you always have been, and I'll save you this amount per month. Or option B, I don't save you anything, but we upgrade you with all brand new technology, point of sale systems. It's going to run your whole operation. You're not going to have to do anything anymore manually. You're actually going to be up to speed when it comes to technology, reaching out to your customers. So option A or option B. And so, this client, he said, no, I'm going to go with option B because that's what we need. We need new technology to be able to reach our clients and stay on the forefront of their minds. So there's always options out there. Saving money is always great. We're not always able to do that. For instance, in the example of that I just gave, but we were able to advance them into this new day and age versus what they were using and doing, how they were running their business.
Good. Yeah, you've probably gotten them one of those like screens that you see now. I'm like so uneducated about the like devices, but you see those around town now where you have the loyalty program embedded into it.
Yeah. Well, let's go get lunch one day and I can bring you up to speed when it comes to the technology we work with.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about any myths or misconceptions that exist about the payment processing industry.
Ah, man. Well, I would dare to say that I've kind of already addressed it. I think one of the biggest myths is that all payment processors are alike. The reality is we're not all alike. We all do the same thing, as I mentioned earlier. We move money from a credit card from a customer into a bank account belonging to the merchant. So we all do the same thing, but as companies and the products and the services that we offer, we're not all alike. That would be one of the biggest myths. When it comes to our company, as I mentioned, the pricing and the pricing and the customer service. But one of the things also, we always try to stay cutting edge when it comes to technology. So when we're talking about technology, things like, staying in touch with your customers, loyalty programs, ways to do marketing. Hey, for example, I'll just say like, it's Taco Tuesday. All of a sudden all your customers get a text message. It's Taco Tuesday. Come and get 10% off, all your tacos today. Things, processing that way. Things like cash advances. We are able to lend money based off of your credit card processing. The technical term is factoring. So we offer factoring. Not all processors do that. That would probably be the biggest myth, is that we're all alike. Well, the reality is we're not all alike. I can speak for our company. We try to stay cutting edge when it comes to technology, because in today's day and age, technology is constantly moving and advancing. And so merchants, they also need to move and advance with the technology at their customers' speed. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And their, competitors are, right? So
Yeah.
They got to stay up to speed. Like, I love that. When we do lunch, I want to go to Taco Tuesday.
Let's do it. I know
Let's
of a few
do
places
Taco
around
Tuesday.
town.
And then tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you end up in the world of payment processing? I mean, I actually have heard your journey, but our listeners haven't. Tell our listeners about your journey.
Yeah. So at a young age, I realized that, man, I'm not shy when it comes to talking to people. And so I decided at a young age, you know what, I think I'm kind of made to be in front of people. And so I started my journey off originally in the early 2000s. I started off in the mortgage industry, and in 2006, the mortgage industry was hemorrhaging due to the way people and companies were writing loans. And I happened to run into an old friend of mine that just looked like he was doing good financially, and I was like, hey, like, what are you doing nowadays? Went by his office the next day and learned all about this industry called merchant services. This industry that everybody knows about, but nobody knows about. They know about it because everybody's swiping credit cards and debit cards on a daily basis, but nobody knows, like, well, how does a person get started in that? So I learned in 2006 through a good friend of mine, and worked with him for a little while. I went with another company and worked for them for a little while, and then in 2008, we were kind of forced to make a decision. Either we were going to stay with the company we were with, or we were going to open up our own business and move forward that way. Well, we decided to open up our own business. What we didn't know at the beginning of 2008 was that 2008 was going to happen. The Great Recession, as it was called. Businesses were not opening at the time; they were actually closing, and so it was humble beginnings, to say the least. But all in all, God has been faithful and has seen us through those trying times, and now here we are, 15 years later, as a company.
That's awesome. Yeah, you stuck with it, and you're, sticking to your standards of service, which are very high, and that's clearly, catapulting and helping you grow, which is exactly what you want to do, which is awesome. And
Yes.
then tell us a little bit about what you do for fun. So you've got three adorable kiddos, and yeah, tell us a little bit about Tomas outside of work.
Tomas, outside of work, I have, and Meg, no disrespect to your husband. I know you're awesome, but I have the best wife in the world, I would say. Um, your husband would equally say the same thing about you, right? But I have the best
He
wife in the
better.
world. What's that?
I said he better.
Yeah, right. I have the best wife in the world, and she has given me three awesome children. I have two young men, and I have a princess. Outside of work, I I'm a full-time dad, and so everything family related, whether we're talking football for my boys or dance competitions for my daughter, we are very, very busy with our children. Family time is a priority for us in our house. It's probably what I'm most passionate about, if I would have to say.
That's awesome. Yeah, we are living, very similar existences. It's
Yes,
all about
yes. Kids will keep you busy. Yes.
very much. Yeah. So I think we kind of touched on this when we were talking about your journey with the Great Recession and how that was a hardship that impacted your business. But is there anything else that you want to share that really turned you into the business owner you are today through any hardships that might have affected your business?
Oh man. Ah, gosh, there are so many. I don't know that I necessarily, as a young man, set out to be a business owner. And so it's almost been trial by fire. And so just learning along the way, I was kind of, as I mentioned, in 2008, I was kind of forced to go into business due to some contracts that just weren't working out. They were working out in one direction, and that direction was not my direction. They were only working out with the company that I was currently working with, and I had to make a decision. What was I going to do? And so, by the grace of God, I had started already building some of our relationships with vendors, and so I just started talking with people, and then, as I mentioned, 2008 hit, and so just kind of growing along the way, those have been some of the more painful things. One thing that has always been a high standard for me is customer service, and knowing that I've and hearing the horror stories that I've heard from other merchants that have dealt with other merchant services providers, that was something I've told myself, and I told our staff, like, I'm like, hey guys, that's not going to be us. Like, we're going to take care of our clients. And so, have we been perfect at it? No, there's no such thing as a perfect company. But that's something that we strive to do. So yeah, all of it has been a learning experience, because, like I said, we didn't necessarily start off saying, hey, we want to go into business for ourselves, but like I said at the beginning, by the grace of God, he's taken care of us, and here we are 15 years later.
That's awesome. And tell us if there's one thing that you would like our listeners to know about Salvus Payment Solutions. Is there just one thing that you want to leave everybody with?
Oh, well, Meg, I'm not sure. I think I pretty much said everything already. You know, the yeah, I think I pretty much said everything. Not all payment processes are alike. It is nice to be able to deal with, a company like, and trust. That's one thing that our clients get with us. As far as pricing, we're very aggressive, and customer service is something that we pride ourselves on. Oh, I guess one thing does come to mind that I didn't mention. We don't do contracts. I don't like to be, I guess we'll say, handcuffed to a contract myself individually. And so, knowing that about me, we don't do contracts for our clients. There are still merchant services providers out there that will stick you in a 3-year contract. That's not how we built our business. We do business with people that want to do business with us. If, for example, a year into it, 6 months into it, 3 years into it, it doesn't matter. If at any point throughout our relationship, you decide either, hey, we're selling our business, we're closing down our business, or Tomas, you're just not you and your company are just not a right fit for us. Hey, let me know. We shake hands, we part friends. And so, yeah, we don't stick anybody in a contract with any kind of teeth.
That's awesome. And you are local, right? You're here, you're in the neighborhood, you live in the area. It's a lot, there's a lot of talk about keeping your dollars local, right? So when you're working to own a business, to process the payments for the business, to market your business, there are local providers of all of these services, and then there's the big corporate ones. And we all know how local dollars impact the local economy. And so, keep your dollars local for your business services too, right? It's not just about.
I could not agree with you more. Yes, 100%. Everywhere I go, like, I'm running into people all the time, and my wife constantly reminds me, she's like, oh my gosh, like, everybody everywhere, and so you better walk the straight and narrow. And I'm like, yes, I know that, babe. But we're very involved in our community. We're very involved in the area. Whether we're talking out here, or I was born and raised in the Denver area, so we're still very involved out there in the community. So yes, it is nice to deal with local businesses. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. How would you like listeners to get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your services for their business?
Absolutely. And actually, for those that will be watching via video, our contact information is on the screen. If you are listening via audio, our direct line is 720-629-0590. I will repeat that at the end. Our website is www.salvuspaymentsolutions.com. If you go to www.salvuspaymentsystems.com, as Meg called it, you're not going to find anything. So make sure you put it. Make sure you put in the solution, Salvus Payment Solutions, and then you can reach us via. We're on social media as well as email info@salvusps.com. Again, our direct line 720-629-0590. Oh, I'll mention one last thing if I can,
Sure.
because I get this often. What does the word Salvus mean? And I won't get into the history of how the name came about with our company, but I'll tell you what it means. It's a Latin word, and in the Latin, it's actually pronounced salvus, which means safe. And so Salvus Payment Processing, if you want to be original, if you want to be authentic and take it back to the original, Salvus Payment Processing. But yes, your safe choice for all your payment processing needs.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much again for being my guest today. And I'm sure you'll be getting some, contact from your podcast experience. So we'll, I know, talk again very soon. And thank you again for being my guest.
Meg, always a pleasure. And you just let me know when you're ready for Taco Tuesday.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwestdenver.com. That's gnpwestdenver.com or call 720-295-9588.